Hello and welcome to the Souls and Simulation podcast. We are your hosts, Devin and Angie, and this podcast provides an alternate view on life after death, processing everything that's wrong and possible solutions on how to get it right in the afterlife.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Souls in the Simulation. I think we're on what, number six now?
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
yep. And we did a change of plans because we were going to cover NDEs, but we're noticing, and we will get to that, I think maybe next week, but we're noticing that our videos on movies and music tend to do better with the audience. So we thought we'd go ahead and shake it up a little bit and go ahead and cover Dark City, the movie Dark City that we couldn't remember the title of in our last episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, yep,
Plus, it gives me an excuse to say I have to go watch a movie for my homework.
I know, right? That's always nice
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, all right. So if you haven't seen the movie, you should go see the movie. It's really good. It came out, it was being made around the same time as The Matrix. And I read that uh, there were a lot of same scenes and props that were used in Dark City that they later used for The Matrix.
It's
So it
actually
was,
true. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So would you like to kind of describe more about, what the movie's about?
Yeah, I essentially you have a gentleman who wakes up um in a hotel room where it appears there's a murdered girl. He has no memory of anything. Meanwhile, he gets a phone call from a doctor telling him that there's people after him, that this doctor who's a psychiatrist can help him. Um, And really, for most of the movie, it's you find out that he's wanted for killing women as like a serial killer type, but also he has no memory of it. And as the movie progresses, you're essentially finding out that everybody in the city loses their memory overnight. The whole city shuts down. And this is all due to the fact that you have an alien species that, because they're kind of like hive minds, they're all of one mind,
Mhm.
individuality, that they're dying off basically. And so they're studying all of the city, everything they built is in order to observe, to try to kind of come to figure out how to be human in order to save their own species. And I noticed I didn't see any women among the alien species. Did you?
No,
That
no.
I thought that was really interesting, but that's kind of the gist of it. But you have the human that they're after, who won't fall asleep when the rest of the city does, is capable of using what's called tuning, which is what they use, the same power that they use, but he's able to use it as well. And so it's all about him kind of coming to terms with the realization of who he is and how he can basically use their own power against them and kind of win the day, so to speak. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good job.
But it also crosses, it's very, very similar. I mean, some people argue this came out before The Matrix. They were both probably being made at the same time, but a lot of people have stated there's a lot of things, not only the sets, but also in theme and other things that were kind of common between the two. I don't necessarily think that. I think that there was something going on in the collective consciousness that, you know,
That's what I
because I
think
think that
too.
both movies, I think they were only made like 6 months apart. So I don't really think that as they were making the first Matrix, they would have had time to be copying anything from. It would have already had to have been written, uh, because the Matrix was released 5 months later, so they were both almost in production about the same time. So
Okay, yeah, yeah.
gotta get this thing with my screen here. All the little pop-up things that come up whenever we start recording, it's almost comical.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and I know it's weird how that happens right when we're starting to record, all these little
Yeah.
things happen. Um, so I wanted to read a quote, and it was the very first opening quote as the movie's starting. And it goes, "First, there was darkness, then came the strangers. They were a race as old as time itself, and they had mastered the ultimate technology, the ability to alter physical reality by will alone. They called this ability tuning. but they were dying, and their civilization was in decline, so they abandoned their world, seeking a cure for their own mortality. Their endless journey brought them to a small blue world, our world, and here they thought they'd finally found what they had been searching for.
The
I thought,
interesting thing is that beginning quote, it's not a quote, it's actually that you can hear Kiefer Sutherland about small blue world.
mm,
It was our world. The interesting thing is there's a goth band called Diary of Dreams, and they have that quote and another one from the movie, and that quote starts off their song just like it starts off the movie. And the song title is Rumors About Angels.
wait,
So
so what was the quote that started it
so
all?
the very start of the movie, the quote that you read
Yeah.
about our world, that quote
Oh,
was used at the start of the song by this band called Diary of Dreams, and the song is called Rumors About Angels.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I knew it right off. I had discovered the band back in 2015. They've been around a lot longer than that, but I discovered in 2015. And the minute that because that's all it is. There's no music. It's just that opening that's used at the beginning of Dark City. And I go, oh my God, that's a Dark City quote. I knew it right off the bat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting. And the song actually has a lot of stuff about Prison Planet stuff in it too, possibly.
Mm,
So yeah.
okay. All right. You'll have to send it to me later.
Yeah, I will do that. And anybody else, y'all should go check it out. Like I said, the band is Diary. In case I'm not enunciating well, like a diary you write in of dreams. So that's the name of the band, and the song is Rumors About Angels. So yeah, I'll send it to you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But I think that quote is an interesting. It's interesting. It sets a very ominous tone. You already know something's gone wrong
Mm,
with our world, and the fact that it already sets the whole tone for the movie and the theme to follow.
yeah. Yeah. Agreed. And then I thought it was so interesting, this movie they're doing all of this experimentation, and one of the last quotes in the movie that John was having with one of the dying aliens, he said, they're doing all this work to try to save themselves, right? And he said, you want to know what makes us human? Well, it's not in here, and he points to his forehead. You were looking in the wrong place.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so, yeah, I thought it was strange how many clocks were throughout the movie.
I know.
There were so many clocks, and time was so intertwined into the whole movie. Um, I thought it was kind of interesting how even this alien race, how bound they were to using time for their experiment.
Which is also interesting that Saturn, the
Mhm.
demiurge, all are all very the father of Kronos, their father of time.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why that's part of why the Saturn got the or Moloch gets the name Child Eater because not in the way that we think it would. They did sacrifice children to Moloch, but it was also the just like Kronos, we're mortal. Time eats our lives away. So that was
Mhm.
interesting. Yeah. But the movie flips it on its head because I mean, yes, we have mortal humans, but the clock was running out on that race too.
Mhm.
So you've got two things going on there in regard to that,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. It said that's why the Greys, that's why they experiment on us. I don't know how true that is now, having come to soul trap theory, is that they advanced too far in their uh, with their race, and they totally lost the capability to reproduce and um, all of that.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
maybe that's
yeah,
I've
that's what
never
I've heard.
I don't know much about because I used to think a lot of that. I never was one to say that aliens didn't exist because I certainly thought, well, that'd be a whole lot of waste of space if they don't. But I didn't. even in terms of Prison Planet, I have yet to, with the Galactic Federation, like Star Seeds, Arcturian, like Anunnaki. I mean, I have no, I don't know anything about any of them really.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, I've been told that some of us are. I've been told that I was an indigo child,
Hmm.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, big deal. It's not helping me.
Yeah, right. And there are different, like they're in the freedom teachings, what I used to go by, there were even like levels to being an indigo child. You had indigo ones and indigo twos, and then indigo threes were a little bit mixed with like the with um not demiurge, what are they? They were mixed with like a dark fallen angel entity, the Oraphim. They're no, not
Oh,
Oraphim.
I've heard of them.
Something like that, but yeah, yeah. I
I mean,
think
there's a race that start. You have Seraphim. There is one that starts with an O.
yeah, Oraphim.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's all just, I don't know, junk now.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Uh
Well, but we weren't able, were we like as far as like indigo, crystal, are they supposedly alien races of enlightened beings, or are they just us? I don't, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think I'm so sick of like, I'm getting to the point with all of it where I'm like, I don't, I don't care
yeah,
because I don't see what it matters.
yeah,
Like, it's good to know that they're out there, that they're trying to get us or whatever. Or if you, okay, if there is such a thing as indigo or star, who cares?
hmm,
It's, you have to deal with the here and now and then your afterlife. That other stuff doesn't matter right now. So the fact that people spend so much time on it and then they act like they know something when clearly you don't, because if you're getting information from channeling, that's going to be a lie. And so therefore, anybody who acts like authority on this stuff, kind of like I was telling you about the, like in our last video that we did about people claiming they had that, oh, we know the way how to break the prison. No, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't be here now,
yeah,
you know? And so it gets annoying as far as that stuff goes, as far as people claiming, or trying to keep up with like, because what happens, what I've noticed is by living under this capitalist system, whenever somebody has some sort of, like for example, Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote Conversations with God,
hmm,
he's turned it into like basically saying that every autistic kid out there is some special starseed indigo and they're bringing us enlightenment. I'm not saying that, I don't know, maybe they are, I don't know. But he started a whole retreat thing and it costs money to go to, and he's in a whole program and a whole school. They
yeah,
all do it.
yeah,
They all do it. They all create these systems, or, hey, are you an indigo one or three or four? Who cares? And all you're doing is promoting a hierarchy.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like, man, I feel like the term I- empath, when people started identifying themselves as empaths, it kind of like gave them a different meaning to validate um, all the things that had been done wrong to them, but
Mm-hmm.
like in a negative way. Like you meet people and they're like, "Oh, I'm an empath," and what am I trying to say here? Something like just feeling emotions, and we turned it into something that meant that you dealt with like narcissistic abuse, and it just it was it's unhealthy to think in the black and white thinking of empaths and narcissists, but yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, uh,
But and like I said, they subverted all of it's it's just one of those things where it's just like everything has to be turned into a system, something you follow, something somebody has to pay for, and
yeah,
then you've got somebody who runs it, and it's like, you know, that's what it reminded me of. That's why while I was watching it, it made me think of that. I was like,
yeah,
I bet you there would be a group of people that would worship, even if they knew what they were doing, you could find humans that would worship them,
yeah, yeah,
and
some of
give
them do
everything
it.
to them to, oh, aren't we, we should show compassion to them because, they're dying. Well, yeah, but they're also, look what they're doing.
Yeah.
That doesn't give them the right. Like, I mean, we die, we're not going around to other planets. Uh, maybe we are, I don't know. But as far as I'm aware, we're not going to other planets and, terraforming or I don't know, cracking them off a big chunk of them out of the planet. Or like I did watch The Forgotten last night, or abducting
Mhm.
people's kids to test theories. Like, no, we're not, as far as I'm aware, we're not doing that. So like, but you'd still find people making excuses for them. I mean, when you got people, and technically in ignorance, people make excuses for them all the time, whether it's demons, gods, aliens, because they worship them.
Yeah.
And then when you ask them questions about their religion, they make excuses for them all the time. Well, well, God works in mysterious ways. Well, it's not the aliens, it's us. We're the ones doing this stuff, and they're trying to help us. And it's all the same. It's all the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I wanted to read another quote from the movie, and it is talking a little bit about the implanting of false memories. But it's from Dr. Schreiber, and I'll read this whole quote so it kind of gives you a little bit of context. But he goes, I call them the strangers. They abducted us, brought us here. They brought everyone to their experiment. They mix and match our memories as they see fit, trying to divine what makes us unique. One day, a man might be an inspector, the next, someone entirely different. Um, they can, they observe the results. Will a man given the history of a killer continue in that vein? Or are we, in fact, more than the sum of our memories? And I really liked it because one thing I've always thought about is if I didn't come into this body and live this life, like I've always wondered, what can I know about my soul that's its true self, other than like all of the things my physical body and life experience have shaped me to be. Like, I don't know, like to know myself on that soul level. Um, but we don't get to choose why we come into these lives and what we're gonna deal with. And um, it's so frustrating. Um, but are
It
we in
is.
fact more than the sum of our memories? You know? I don't know. I
I
like it.
wonder. I wonder that too
Yeah.
about even with our past lives too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. There's so little choice in it. And if there is choice, it's masqueraded with they'll give us some choice, but they have it all mapped out with the AI system. And if we don't like this one life, oh, well, maybe you don't want to be a woman in this life. Well, maybe about a man where you get to do this and that. And there's still so little choice in it all until we wake up and become sovereign. But mm,
Yeah. I think I mean, I think for me, like when I watch this movie, and you realize that, like, I kind of told you before we started recording that when they see that they're floating out into space when he breaks through
yeah.
the shell beach wall
Mm,
and he's looking out. What disturbs me about that is that that's that's essentially what we're doing.
hmm
Whether it's, again, I don't want to get into the argument of flat earth, round ball, who cares? I mean, to me, that doesn't even matter because it still won't change what we're in. But my point is, it's like, it just, I don't, this whole thing just seems really pointless. Like, as far as, uh, I don't know, you're floating in space, supposedly, or we're flying through space on this big ball within a within a trap system, and none of us have any idea how to get the hell out. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, it really, like, I think that's why the movie sets heavy with me, because when you look out at that open space, or I had an experience in a like a sensory deprivation tank too, where it felt like I was
Mhm.
expanding. I
Mhm.
couldn't tell where where I began and ended, because the water temperatures to your body temp, it's dark. You're floating, and I remember it freaked me out a little bit, like, because as much as I felt infinite, I was still contained in something finite, and that was it was like a it was hard for the mind to even like, it's like this brain isn't even, it can't even compute or comprehend what we are.
Yeah.
And so being trapped in within even the body prison and its limitations is frustrating. And we actually had a comment on our last video by geoengineering, who stipulated that he said, I can't help thinking about how the physical body is, well, basically he said how bodies are victims here too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So because if you think about like the movie Invasion, what was it? Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which was about an alien race and, getting into human bodies. Essentially, that's what we are. Of course, we're being forced into them, but we're a being that's invading, we're possessing a body, essentially. And then things can possess us. It's the whole thing after a while. It'll drive you mad, you know?
Yeah.
It could drive you mad. Maybe that's why most people run from all this, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Last night, you know that Saturn video I asked you to send to me?
Oh yeah.
I sent that to my one friend, and it was like really late at night, but they're like, "Oh, your mind is the prison. Your mind is the prison planet. And if you I was like, I got so mad at him, but he was telling me that all of the Saturn stuff, the moon matrix stuff, all of that, it was only true if I believed it. And I was like, no, there's actually really good evidence. Like if you just wanted to look into it and, do a little bit of your research, watch that video, it might put together some puzzle pieces for you. And he was like, no, 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 no. Your mind is the
Wow.
prison. And I was just like, it's too late. I don't want to like try it. He's my friend, but um I got so frustrated with him because it's like you can't just uh he was saying too, you don't have to have such fear. Don't have such fear if you don't want to. It's only your mind that's making you like have think that you're in a prison. And I was like, I'm not being fearful. I'm just stating like what I believe to be facts. He couldn't get it out of his mind that me saying, oh, the moon and the matrix and the possible, amplifications it could have on Earth, he thought that was all like fear-based me, like being a negative thinker. And I was like, no, it's not that. We can be grounded in reality and still be able to look at like the truths of the world and see it shouldn't be like this. But
And he won't come around, right?
no, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
It
That's
was
like
it
trying to
was like
tell,
a broken record. He just kept repeating the same things.
well, they do that, even, Christians, Jewish, any faith system,
Yeah.
because it is a faith system that even he believes in. People
Mhm.
could argue that, ours is like what we're doing is faith. And I'm like, no, I don't think so, because there's a lot to back it up. And I don't have any gods or masters,
Yeah.
whereas you do. I don't.
Mhm.
I think that's a big proponent of it. And I'm always willing to challenge, like, what I believed yesterday, I'm well aware I may not believe tomorrow.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
always say, like, when we did our, discussion of what our plans were to get out, I'm like, I even said subject to change based upon new information.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Because if you stay stuck in, you know, you end up asleep, like in the city in the movie at night, while they changed everything on you, and then you have to do everything all over again. Yeah, I'd rather not do that. I'd rather try to wake up now rather than being
Mhm.
fooled here and then fooled in the afterlife as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're obviously like not only it reminded me of like in 24 hours, they're basically doing to us what they do over lifetimes
Yeah.
because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
putting a whole city to sleep and then they're assigning somebody a whole new from day to day, whole new reality, whole new job. The
Mhm.
whole city even looks different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
apparently they compacted, they didn't even use one timeline. They compacted them all together. The
Mhm.
1950s, the 1960s, current, they even said that. They didn't know which would go best, so they just threw everything together. That's why it's kind of strange, where you have 1950s cars, but then there's some that look 1960s in it, and that's kind of fascinating, I thought, because
Yeah.
that's what these beings here do, I think, with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the movie, it was like a mere 24 hours, and
Yeah.
your whole
Yeah.
reality, they were changing everything up within 24 hours. It was like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. What did you think of the actual tuners? What the alien looked like inside them?
It's funny because it reminded me of the alien from Aliens when it
Oh yeah.
before
Yeah.
the thing that lays the eggs that
Yeah.
attaches to the face,
Yeah.
but like a digital version of that. That's what it looked like to me. Or
Yeah.
something that belongs like, I don't know, a little like a jellyfish also.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks super parasitic to me. I
Well,
thought, yeah,
that too.
jellyfish, like, yeah, just like completely uh just needed to attach to something. But it was, yeah, had razor sharp teeth too,
And
and a
it
bunch
came
of
out of the
tentacles.
head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I thought that well, the minute it came when he killed the first alien,
Hmm.
uh actually he didn't. During the fighting, something comes down and falls off a building and hits the alien in the head. But when that thing crawled out, I was like, that looks like the thing that fits over the face of people from Aliens.
Mm. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was creepy, and I did think the same thing. I just went, my mind went immediately. I was like, and also kind of like a jellyfish as well.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the thing is, you find out later in the movie that how what they're inhabiting, the bodies that they have, is that the being is the thing that we're talking about that looks parasitic or that looks like the alien and aliens, but they're those things embed in the heads of the dead. Remember, he tells them, "We take over your dead."
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You hear
you
that?
didn't catch that line. He
No.
says he's like, "We take over the bodies of your dead," and
Mm.
so those things go into the brains of the dead people in Dark
Mm.
City.
They don't look like I mean, their skin is white and
Well,
uh
because they never see, which I don't know why the humans weren't either if nobody's seeing the sun.
yeah.
But that
Yeah.
was, I thought the same thing you did when until I heard the quote, and then I was like, maybe the combination of them being alien and the body rejecting it probably,
Yeah.
and and then the fact that they probably never have been in light ever, so that's why they're so pale.
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe. Another thing I put this in my notes, but then I didn't understand it. All the humans had human names, but then the tuners, they only had names like Dr. Quick, Dr. Book,
Yeah,
Dr. Wall, Dr. Hand, Dr. Sleep. Do you know why they had those names? I couldn't figure out.
no, and I even watched reviews and actually tried to do research. Nobody looked into that, but I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah, yeah,
The only thing, I mean, my theory is that they're maybe a scientific minded society, and so they
mhm,
all see themselves that way. Maybe, I don't know, but I
yeah,
couldn't come up with anything or find anything about it.
mm, yeah,
So
interesting,
yeah,
interesting.
and that little kid's creepy too. The little kid one.
It's so creepy,
Oh,
so creepy. Ooh, yeah, it's so creepy.
he's a weirdo.
Yeah,
He's the weirdest of all of them, I think.
yeah.
And this is just a little pop culture history, but the one guy that tries to take John's um, imprint so they could find him. Remember the one alien?
Hmm.
I can't think of his name, but he's actually Riff Raff, who was in. The Rocky, and he's the guy who wrote Rocky Horror Picture Show and is Riff Raff in the Rocky Horror Picture
No
Show.
way.
Yeah, that's Riff
Oh
Raff.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting.
So yeah, a little bit of the minute I saw the movie too, I recognized him. I was like, oh, hey, it's Time Warp. It's Mr. Riff Raff.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
So, uh, another thing I thought was interesting, the implanted memories. They used a syringe, but I see one thing in the New Age community, and I think that prior to like birth, incarnation, the like archons, they might implant false past life memories into us. And I see a lot of people in the New Age community. They'll have these past life recalls uh, of of being these starseed races, or living on different planets like Syria, or um, all these different things. And I think it's also just those false memories, just like in the movie, how they were false memories. Uh,
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, how they feel so real, and the people in the New Age community swear by them. But I think that they're just to keep us deeper in the layers of everything, all of the traps.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, well, plus it's funny too, they reminded me of like why do they have to as far as their clothing and stuff, they look all goth,
Hmm.
like old wizards or something. They're all in black long coats and or very Edward Scissorhands without all the tape and the scissors, of course, but very goth looking. And like
Hmm.
you said, so almost Nosferatu like
Yeah, I see
vampires,
that. Yeah.
which I guess makes sense because they were in their own way, they were feeding off, even though I mean, they're not getting, they're trying to get our energy, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to get to the souls.
Hmm.
So, you know,
So I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the that one song that it was the Diary of Dreams named. What was the song name?
it's
Um,
called Rumors About Angels.
okay, yeah.
It's the title of the song. Yeah.
Yeah. And we listened to it just before we started recording, and wow. Um, yeah, for anyone listening, if you want to listen to it, there's like an 8-minute version where they quote the movie Dark City in the beginning and the end.
And in the middle, there's a part in there about,
Oh, yeah.
uh, which is a little brutal because as we said, there's a killer in the movie. And it's that portion relates to the uh, females that are being killed. And although that quote is interesting, right? Like,
Hmm.
I shed innocent blood, but what is blood for if not for shedding? That's really dark.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really dark. Um, yeah, almost like questioning like the intentions. Are they that like bad? What was another part that stuck out? I'll never beg for mercy. I'll never kiss your feet. I'll never ask forgiveness and all that I want to keep. Yeah. It was interesting though. And you
Well,
said,
even his pronouncements seem like some sort of kind of like what will be, I don't consent, I don't consent.
yeah.
And even the idea that I hear rumors about angels, almost like they're rumors. They don't I get that sense from the song that it's his empowerment has nothing to do with coming out, like seeking outside himself, right? I hear rumors about angels, but I don't need them. He even says at one point, am I brighter than you thought?
Mm,
So I always took that even before I kind of got into all of this. I even took that to mean, hmm, like you underestimate me and I'm brighter than you thought. Like
yeah.
I'm stronger. Like, and now with in terms of prison planet theory and who we truly are, what I'm getting from that now is a whole new different, like I am more. than not only what I think, but what the system that keeps us in prison here thinks too. And you know it, and now I know it. Watch out. And then you get the whole, I will never kiss your feet. I will never ask for beg for mercy. I take the song in a whole new light now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And
definitely.
the whole movie inspired the song, by the way. That whole the Dark City inspired the song for this game. That's why they put the quotes in the song.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, so check that out if you want. And then I had a couple more quotes I wanted to read from the movie and talk about some, just kind of read some as well. But one was from the scientist, Dr. Schreiber, and this is where he's mixing together a new, like somewhat pretty much like a life for a person. And he has his all of his different bottles and his syringe, and he goes, "Okay, let's see a touch of unhappy childhood, a dash of teenage rebellion, and at last but not least, a tragic death in the family." And I don't know, it just made me think of, once again, I talked about it earlier, how much our lives are predetermined before coming here, and how much of it is just kind of like we don't know what's going to happen in our lives, but it's all kind of planned out pretty much before with astrology and the hypnotic tuning they do, and all of the contracts, everything before incarnating. Um, I think it's interesting they get to just kind of mix and match what tragic things we'll experience and all of that. Mm.
That should be enough to piss everybody off
Right.
about it. I mean, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. And man, look at all the things that are happening right
mhm.
now. Like in the world, individually, we have so much to deal with. Collectively,
I can't
It's
even, yeah.
it's just so painful. And I don't know what's going on with the internet right now, but there's so much all of the shootings recently. You can find the entire videos, the uncensored
Mhm.
versions. They're being blasted all over the internet of, the Kirk guy getting shot.
I still can't get over that. Well, actually, I can. I don't know why I act shocked, but
Hmm.
yeah. And by the way, everybody, this is it's my take, but we've seen it a million times. It's a psyop. I even told Michelle after it happened, I said, what's going to happen is they got somebody up there to shoot him, and now they're gonna use it to control us. First thing
Yeah.
they're gonna say is you can't say anything negative about Israel. You can't question anything about Israel, and they're gonna try to take the guns
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the violence keeps happening, even though this person was probably MK ultra to the nth degree, and and sure enough, he was up. I even think the guy that they initially thought was the shooter, that was an older man that they had video of.
Hmm.
I honestly think that was part of it. I think he was supposed to act like he was, so that gave the guy time to get away for a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah.
But you've got the Nepal, the Brant, like you sent me those things. I didn't know about any of it
Mhm.
until you were telling me what
Yeah.
was up, and I was
Yeah.
like, and incidentally, that's why this video is coming out. Like my health stuff was going berserk too.
Yeah.
At the same time that you've got Nepal going on, you got France going on, and what was there was another country too. I can't think of. There were
Uh,
three countries that they overthrew they're trying to overthrow their governments in. Of course, that'll never
I
happen in
think of
America
the
because
other
we're too
one.
busy being
Yeah.
divided. Like we're too
Yeah.
stupid to see we're being
But
just pitted against each other.
yeah, yeah. I can't believe. So one thing real quick on the like the Kirk thing that happened, I also heard that it's all for something much deeper, like you said, it's a psyop. And we can't get too like lost in like all the emotions. We have to also just be discern from it. But I also heard that a couple of days before all of that happened, his assassination, he was speaking out about Trump and the Epstein, trying to
He
get his name.
was.
He was like trying to get it exposed. I heard that it be, he could be sending like a message to everyone saying, um, you know, leave the Epstein files alone. This is what's going to happen to you if you try to push that narrative more. And there's a
Oh,
lot
I'm
with
I'm
like the
I'm sure that is
journalism.
like a veiled threat kind of thing, like to
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, Bill Gates did it to the PBS woman that interviewed him. And she was asking him
Really?
about, oh yeah, she was asking him about his Epstein. Anybody can type this in and look it up, but she was asking him about his dinners with Epstein.
Oh
And
God.
she's like, well, what do you think the lesson here is? And here's his response. Well, he's dead. So I think people have to be real careful. He said that to her on camera. Well, that's how he answered her question about what's the lesson here.
Hmm.
And instead of answering the lesson part, he's basically saying to her, while he's dead, people have to be really careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're always doing that,
Mm.
like, um, yeah. And I know that we could say we're off topic, but I don't really think we are in terms of the movie because you had those beings, this alien race, um, basically they wanted to kind of join with him at the very end,
Yeah.
and they were using threats with him too
Yeah.
to kind of coerce to get and even use and then eventually kind of using this telekinesis power thing or whatever against them. But I think they're constantly um, putting stuff in plain sight,
Yeah.
like right in front of our faces. Some things hidden. When we
Yeah.
talk about how much stuff is hidden in our food, uh, and so some stuff is hidden, but a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff is like right in front of our faces and like this Charlie Kirk thing. It's right in your face. It's obvious what they're doing. They've done it a million times before. And then um, and you'll still have people refusing to see it. And are you like right now, there's protests, like there was vigils for him
Yeah.
and people on the other side that weren't white, like Kirk was, are showing up and protesting the vigils because they're almost saying, it's like, aren't you guys ever going to wake up?
Yeah. Yeah.
We should be on the same side, and the side should be that. On the other side of that, though, don't you think from the perspective of just like in the movie, the whole thing gets taken down, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's what's happening. We're
Yeah.
seeing their lives are getting more ridiculous that we can see through them. The systems are breaking. We have three governments that just gotten overthrown. What's his name? Macron in France is out. They want him out, and he looks like he's on his way out. They overthrew Nepal. I'm sorry, everyone, I can't remember the name of the other country, but and
Uh,
if it's
think of it either. But
if it's as above, so below, it would make sense to me that their control's breaking as well. Like the game's over. I think a lot more of us, not even those of us, be interesting to hear what people think, but I think a lot more of us that even didn't figure it out in life are getting out by virtue of their it's breaking.
yeah. Yeah. You know what, man? France, they were protesting. I'll say this, and I'll also tie it into the movie a little bit. But France, they were protesting a year or two ago, and they were protesting for months and months, but they still had no big impact. Their leader still ended up like, I think it was the retirement, bumping it up toward to uh, them being older until they can retire. But then Nepal, they were throwing politicians in the water. They were burning their homes. They were burning buildings. And within 48 hours, you know, um, they made change. And then it was so sweet. Apparently they went the next day after the changes were made, they helped clean up their city and make it better. And I just think like, I don't I would love to see change. I'll say that change
Yeah.
made in other countries, especially America. Um, but anyways, I'm going to tie it all into the movie and say rebellious mindsets are how these changes are won in this world.
Mhm.
And it's how, it's how John ended up beating the strangers. And if we don't wake up and don't rebel and don't start, if we remain, stuck and controlled, we're not going to make change, and we'll never break free from our masters or the archons or uh, our government, all the different ways we're being taken advantage of. So,
And I think it's really important because I know when we did the Saturn episode,
mhm.
when you mentioned rebellion, I thought about that line where, um, or that portion of what I came across where the statement that the archons, they don't like this, even whatever rules this AI, demiurge, whatever, doesn't like uncontrolled chaos. So don't let your rebellion become co-opted.
Yeah, yeah,
You always need to stand firm in like, nope, 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 because we've seen that happen with movements all the time. They get co-opted, and
yeah.
it's not even a matter of having a movement. It's about every person having agency, for
Mm,
people to have their own agency and for us to be able to take care of one another. Um, I mean, because if you look at everything here in the our infrastructure is broken. I mean, we've driven on the roads, and I'm going to tell everybody right here, right now, I've driven all of the 48 continuous states, all the way up until 2020, until my illness got the better of me. You can go to a blue state and you can go to a red state, and the roads are still shitty. You can go to a blue state, you can go to a red state, and you still have a severe issues with homelessness, with drug addiction, with all of the things. It doesn't matter whether it's New York or Austin, Texas, and here in Austin, or yeah, we got issues here. How about the homeless problem in San Antonio? I'm sure there's a pretty good issue with it there too, right?
yeah,
California. So this is a red state. I mentioned some blue states. If you go into like rural places like Idaho and stuff like that, you got problems with fentanyl and meth addiction there, like you do in the big cities too. So this left, right, blue, red, it's all BS. And I really wish people would, um, and for some reason, uh, like here, I saw a lot of right wing people saying this stuff going on in France. So like, look at those idiots burning their own cities down. I'm like, well, first of all, the building they're burning, some rich asshole owns it, dude. And secondly, um, France has always been that way. They know the problem is everybody else in the world knows when their government's like basically doing propaganda on them. Americans are too stupid to figure that out.
mm,
And y'all want to work your whole lives away. You
mhm.
don't want to help the disabled here.
Yeah,
It's like, what is wrong with you that you think that everybody's trying to get something from you when we're the ones in this country, as our military and everything else, go around the world stealing everybody else's shit?
yeah,
Wake up, wake up. Like, so, and I think that in the movie, um, that's what those things were doing. They were taking everything from people. I mean, every 24 hours, just taking, right? Like changing the whole city up, taking their old identity, giving them a new one. The minute they woke up, I mean, the cars would just stop on the road while they took everything that
mm,
that that, that person ever had, that from the day before, and completely give them something. You know what I mean? Um, for better or worse. And the systems in which we live in do the same thing to us in life. I mean, like I said, we were talking about how hard it is to actually get food that's actually not going to kill you slowly. It just seems like in the movie where you have him as he's coming to his realization, um, he even had resistance to it at first. And then he starts coming, he wouldn't even take the shot that the doctor wanted to give him
yeah,
because he was so like, no, this can't be like, uh, and so I think we all go through that resistance thing, but some of us stay in that resistance phase for a lot longer
mhm.
than necessary, and then end up hurting our society and ourselves by participating in the very thing that's, you know, basically got us, has a boot on our neck, basically.
Yeah.
What did you think of the end scene where when they were struggling to, and again, these are spoilers, which we probably should have started that off warning at the beginning, but this movie is like almost 30 years old. So if you haven't seen it by now, I'm sorry for the spoilers, but definitely check it out. But that how their energy kept when he was fighting the leader of the alien race.
Hmm.
I'd say fighting, but it was more like this telekinesis kind of battle where they were with special effects showing their energies coming out of their third eye
Yeah.
toward each other. And it reminded me of there's a movie called Scanners. It's really gross, but they kind of did the same thing. The only difference with Scanners is the person's head would blow up,
Yeah.
the loser's head would blow up or whatever.
Yeah.
But what did you think about that, the struggle thing?
I,
Like,
yeah.
what's your take on that?
Um, it was interesting. Um, yeah, it was, um, sorry, I'm trying to call that to like
Mhm.
my mind right now. I thought it was, interesting, but were you saying that with the leader, could you talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah, the leader of the alien race
Yeah.
is trying to force him to like he wants to merge with John
Hmm.
for the so again because you're thinking, oh, he's the answer to saving us.
Yeah.
And when John resists, then they get in this battle with this energy that's actually aimed at basically at each other's foreheads, basically toward one another. And that's when I thought, I wonder if that's where they get us, that we think that there's where we get in this mindset where we have to fight.
Mm,
Because then that sets use the individual up to say, well, then I have to fight my way out of this.
no.
Instead of just going, instead of him going like Neo and holding his hand up and going, no,
Yeah. Yeah. They
I
actually,
have it, you don't.
hmm.
Right. So that's what that scene, I was like,
Yeah.
there shouldn't be a battle. With, as far as with that we're concerned, we've got the power within us.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I agree with you too. I think I was distracted with my daughter or a cat or something around that time. But yeah, yeah. Um, I also wanted to add in there because you're talking if no one has seen the movie, which I'm pretty sure everyone has seen the movie if you're watching this. But if you do if you do watch it, there's a director's cut, and it pretty much like the difference is everyone recommends that you see if you see the original, don't watch the first minute, which is the quote that I read in the beginning, but maybe a little bit too late. If you show any of your friends the movie, uh, fast forward through the first minute where the you have the quote from the doctor. But yeah. Um,
But I still think the whole, I don't know, it still leaves me kind of that whole scene of them floating on this flat rock. I'm just like, it bothers me a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
because, and I think the reason the first time I saw it and that stuck with me and it bothered me in the deprivation tank is because that's exactly what's happening. We're in a prison and a boring, that city's boring. It just, it's dark all the time. There's no nuance. It's just dark,
Hmm.
dark city. And it's just this floating. And I'm like, hi, they should have just changed the title of it to Dark World. And then you have what we're living in. The
Yeah.
only difference is the sun comes up here, and I'm not even sure if it's the sun that's supposed to be. I don't even know.
Yeah. And you know what? What's so strange about that? What happens at the end of Dark City? John, he creates the sun, he creates the light, and then also he creates the ocean from his childhood memory. But we could, you know, question if this is the story of creation in a way, and that this is like Dark City became Earth. But
Right.
yeah,
Well, and that whole thing of here's that too, that they were stolen, which kind of ties into, I think, I've heard theories that people think, well, the world, because it doesn't make sense to me. I don't care what this place was before they came. But since a lot of people were apparently stolen or abducted to go into this world, for them, reminds me of. the whole thing. I've heard theories that we also were sucked into here. Like I've heard people say different theories. Some say that that they're collecting souls or that they trick souls here, whatever the case. But my point is, I think it's more the latter, stolen, or I don't even think tricked. I think like stolen and pulled into this. And once you're pulled into it, it's hard to get out. Um, I know people who don't hold that opinion say that, oh, souls used to come here and you had longer lifespans, whatever. Here's my take on that is if you have to come and a woman has to go through birthing and the pain of that to have a child, the child comes into the world screaming and then has to face mortality. There's no way that in any sense, regardless if you live 1,000 years or 100 years or 50 years, I, I mean, and if you have to consume, like, well, you didn't have to eat. So then what are you doing? Just twiddling your thumbs? I mean, I think the whole thing of this place runs off of polarity,
Yeah.
hot and cold, peace, peace versus violence, all of the opposites. And otherwise, why come here?
Uh,
To me, it seems like there's no interest to
mm,
me,
hmm.
you know. So you don't eat anything, you don't get to use the body senses. It doesn't seem, I think, so that's why I think it, to me, after watching the movie and the fact that he had a childhood that he remembered elsewhere that wasn't there, they were abducted, I think are, I think it's divine sparks, or I don't like using the word divine though, that has all kinds of connotations, but
Yeah.
our energetic selves, I think we were stolen. And
Hmm.
I think that's maybe why we have, um, I mean, I even think that maybe some of the souls that are here, you know, that get into some very dark stuff. I do think some of those people do have souls, and I don't think they were abducted. I think they came here of their own free will
Mm,
because they're dark. It's from a dark place,
maybe.
you
Maybe they
know,
willingly consented to it if they were able to act out in their, uh, n- nature, their evil nature, I guess, if you want to use that word.
because I've also hearing this term. I haven't looked into it, but ISB, I think is the term.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, so some of us, for whatever reason, maybe I read something that said like some souls that didn't fit in where they're from were actually cast here,
Yeah. Mhm.
like given over to and I'm like, that's a real nice thought. That's real comforting.
You know that alien uh YouTube video I sent you months and months ago from that lady from the like 1940s. She,
Oh yeah.
she was talking to that late alien who actually coined that term, ISB. Uh, but yeah. Um,
And it's not like we can get the truth from that's that's like I sent you and Jackie
mhm.
um a clip of that fruit ball that got me way off track, and almost beating myself up, berating myself like,
Mm,
well, oh, he healed himself and he's walking 100 days late and I'm getting worse. And I mean, he really messed my head up for a long time.
yeah.
But his name is RJ Spina. But
Yeah.
even that, like, you have people like him saying crap like, um, don't think you're in your own way. But then at the same time, and so on the one hand, he's saying, and get into your own power. But then he's like, but the ascended masters. And I'm like, so are you powerful or not, dude? On the one hand, you're saying you got it all figured out, but yet you're getting channeled messages
Hmm. Yeah.
from
That's
all these beings.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how they'll work with you. They'll heal you. And we see this in, you know, NDEs and uh other instances where people are connecting to those beings and they make contracts with you. And you'll hear it well, never mind about that. But they'll heal you and then you'll go and you'll spread these messages of, oh, you can manifest your life to be better. All you need to do is have positive thinking. All you need to do is meditate and it's all it's to spread the new age BS. And yeah, um, yeah.
That's really crap. I mean, I
And
don't know about
they
you,
could
but like
be,
I've stayed positive about money. Our
yeah,
money's never changed. Like we're doing better, but like the income hasn't increased. And Jackie was saying she thought it was her. I don't mean to speak for her, but she's not on here right now.
yeah,
I'll check back with her, so we'll have a report, an update like on that next week. But last week she was saying she thinks it actually worked in reverse for her. And
mm,
I don't know how you're standing with that, but it's
yeah,
because it's bullshit.
yeah. And to go even deeper than that, to tie in astrology again, sometimes when you look at people's birth charts, you can see where in their birth chart, they may struggle with money. They may have all these issues in, the second house or different aspects going on that they can never truly, really escape from. And, what works for some people might not work for others. And these people spread lies and, they get fed the ascended masters, whatever, they may pay them energetically through channel subscribers or through money or all these different things to continue spreading their message. And yeah, it's just interesting.
You're right. They spread this. Can you imagine? Okay, so whether it's Joe Dispenza or any of these other people, can you imagine? I'm gonna go there. I don't care. Why don't you go? I'd love to see them go to Gaza and tell a person who's starving over there that if they just sit in their house and say, my life is great and I've raised my frequency and vibration, that they're not going to get blown the hell up, that they're not still going to be starving, that they're going to have wealth, that they're not going to be, that they won't have to witness what's the tragedy of what's going on with their children. Or have you ever noticed they don't take like somebody with Down syndrome and fix them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or what's like a severe somebody born with severe cerebral palsy. And I think it I mean the amount of anger that I have toward that because I fell for it. I mean, I was falling for all kinds of crap. And I know people can be like, and it's not because I'm stupid. The problem is you get desperate. The illness or the whatever financial situation you're in puts pressure on you. And so yeah, you'll find somebody like me with health issues going, okay, you're not supposed to drink holy water, but and I don't even believe in it, but I'll buy it and I'll drink it. This holy water from Mexico that I spent $20 on. I mean, the idea um, that you can just, and they all do it. They all have some form of it. All of these people, whether it's Dispenza or Spina, Eckhart Tolle, they all say the same shit, all
Hey,
just different ways.
yeah. Real quick, real quick. I don't know if you're still buying holy water, but if you are or whatever,
No.
you can get your own water. You can take it and charge it with your own like energy. And then you can drink it. You can set the intention, okay, cleanse out any like nanobots, AI, like entities, whatever, and then like charge my body with like healing energy from yourself. And you're like flushing your body with your systems with water. But
Oh, I need to start doing that. Well, like
yeah,
I said, I'm doing
yeah,
God bubbles and whatnot. Because
yeah.
the more that we watch these movies, I'm finding it's almost like I remembered watching that for the first time, and after it was over, here's what's funny. I was like, oh, thank God I live here. And
Mm,
I'm not on a floating dark city rock with these weird alien things. Right. And then now that I'm awake, I'm like, you idiot. How did you like you didn't see? They've been telling you all along through
yeah,
all of the movies.
yeah.
All along.
That's how they
Like,
get you too. Like they just put it in movies and call it sci-fi.
yeah, or fiction, right? Like
Yeah.
the fiction, and then all the other stuff is like, I'm even finding like with medicine, um, I watched a nurse who was trying to discuss. She was talking about MS, and I'm listening to her, and I'm like, it's the same shit. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
You don't know anything. You don't know what. Oh, we don't know what causes it. We don't know this. We don't know that. We don't know. Why are you talking then? Why, well, you have nothing to say
No
and you're
valid.
pushing the same drugs
Yeah.
that you always push. Um, I mean, to my view, like right now, supposedly there's something called Pipe 307 that's going to help remyelinate.
Mm,
I should have the right to just, they're in second phase trial. I should have the right to just go ahead and try that drug instead of taking the toxic crap. And what I'm finding is like, in terms of like Dark Sea, it's the same. I feel like we just keep doing the same stuff over and over again. We keep putting up with the same stuff over and over again. I mean, people want to talk about like, okay, like having medical insurance versus not. Let me tell you, there's not a whole lot of big difference. And why do I say that? Because if I have Medicare and I still have to pay like a deductible,
yeah.
like, but it's not near as much. But Michelle has good insurance through her employer. And if she has something for her yearly, mind you, she pays premiums every month, is $6,000 for
Yeah.
her deductible. So any expenses up to $6,000, she's having to front. So somebody please tell me why we keep putting up with this. Like, just like the people in Dark City, we keep putting up with it. Nobody questions anything. We just go to sleep, and that's what we do. We get up during the daytime and we follow all of these little patterns that they and grids and the stuff with our astrology and all of that stuff that we're programmed with. We
Yeah.
don't question anything, and then we go to bed just like the people. We go to sleep every night and wake up to the same shit with the same like stuff happening. And I guess that's why you know, I'm finally starting to realize like my biggest headache in life is that I always wanted the world to change, and it's not meant to. It's not meant to. If it were, they're not going to eat. And it's kind of like you were saying earlier, you can't save other, you kind of just have to accept things, not things, but people and the reality. Because I don't think we can, I mean, I think it is breaking just by virtue of what you see going on in the world. I think things are coming apart there and as above, so below and here. But I've got to let go of I think a lot of us have to let go of that idea of wanting to control outcome
Yeah.
because we can't, and that can try you into another trap here by thinking that, oh, if I could have just fixed this or fixed that, or it's kind of like in the movie The Nines when Ryan Reynolds is a god who creates this world and his people come to get him because he's got obsessed with it and he won't leave it.
Yeah.
And she goes, you'll spend the next billion years trying to figure out how to perfect the pine cone. It's kind of that kind of thing where I think we can get ourselves trapped in that way too,
Yeah.
of, trying to change the world.
Yeah. We'll have to do that movie too. You know what I was thinking for our next movie? Maybe The 13th Floor.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
heard
a
it was
good
like
one.
the twin of The Matrix. And I feel like we're kind of like we've done The Matrix, now Dark City, and now we oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, like the reason we're starting to notice that we both worked hard and put a lot of time in on Saturn. I mean, a lot of time in. Hardly anybody checked it. I mean, thank you to those who did, and I'm not mentioning for that reason. I'm merely mentioning this as to why we're going more with the movies because that seems to be what people tend to, maybe because there's more familiarity with it. Um, Maybe because they've seen it and I don't know. You guys will have to let us know. And we've also talked about maybe reviewing songs and things like that that we've listened to that have some and we'll actually play them because we are finding out that if you play them, break them up and stop them and list it for educational purposes that you don't have copyright issues with that. So
Yeah.
those we might basically be doing like a shorter video like that and then longer videos a week later. So kind of alternating week, short, long,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what else, do you have any other
I sure do. More quotes. I have a couple.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I had one thing that I didn't quite understand. Maybe you can actually help me with it. is so one of the strangers, it's Mr. Hand. The quote that goes, "On occasion, the imprinting does not take. They behave erratically when they awaken. We find them wandering like lost children." But it made me think of the other man who was the cop who also woke up, and it seemed like he was kind of a conspiracy theorist, you know? And then he ends up self-deleting in front of the subway. But I was thinking, why weren't they going after him the same way? Sorry, cat, she's hungry. It's dinner time. Uh, but why weren't they going after that cop the same way they were going after John? Um,
I think because I don't think that John, well, for one thing, he didn't have what they were looking for.
oh, the tuning gift. Sorry, yeah,
So he didn't have that. Then
okay.
also, he wasn't a threat
Right,
either.
okay.
People, I
It's
mean,
kind of
the average person
scary to
that came
everyone.
across him, like even if he tried to tell people what was going on, they would have blown him off. I
Uh,
mean, think about people 30 years ago here talking about the stuff we're talking about.
yeah,
They would have told all of us, "You're crazy," and you wouldn't have near the amount of people that kind of are like, "Oh, hey, maybe that does make some sense." 30 years ago, 50 years ago, you'd have been, they might have even locked you up, right?
yeah,
50 years ago, like we're talking about stuff like this. So, or yeah, go in and scramble your brains with like a lobotomy or something. I mean, so I think, I mean, that's my take on that.
yeah, okay, yeah. He didn't have the gift to tune. That's why
Right.
he wasn't a threat to them.
And it's interesting too that the movie portrays it like he said that again, humanity needs a savior. Only one person, only one special person has the gift.
Yeah.
No, everybody probably could have if they had woken up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I find that that's something that I've noticed in all of these movies.
Yeah.
There's still that whole idea that you still need a savior. It's not all of you, right? Neo, and then or Neo and Trinity in the last one. It's
Yeah.
always one person who's special, and the
Mm.
rest of you ain't. It's kind
Yeah.
of the idea behind it. It's like, yeah, no. And then like I kind of have the attitude of that song. No, I'll never beg for mercy. I will never, I'm brighter
Oh, yeah,
than I
that's
thought.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a common thing right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it kind of makes us think, like, of course we're watching it in a movie, so we don't think too much outside of it being on a screen in a box, but applying it to our lives, it couldn't be multiples. It has to be that one, and reaffirming all of what you said. But yeah,
Well, and they do it, it happens, I've noticed with me personally, it happens in more subtle ways too. So like when we do the podcast, I think you do way better than I do, like way better. And so I'm always like, man, maybe Devin should just be doing this with Jackie or without me, like, you
yeah,
know, or or man, I got, I stuttered up my words a bit there, and I'll start like that'll start coming up, and I'm like, what am I doing?
yeah,
I may not, sure, I may not be as articulate as somebody else because this is a little nervous for me to do, and I'm putting myself out there, and I never wanted to. When I tell everybody that I never wanted to be on screen, I mean it. I don't even like my picture being taken. I've never been a fan of that promoting of the outward, I, I just not a fan of that. So this is a big deal for me. But yeah, it's in more subtler ways, although we're constantly comparing ourselves to each other. We're constantly in competition with each other as a species. And it's like that stems from that too, right? Like that whole idea of there can only be one,
hmm
I mean, I told you about those women that were picking apart Olive Only, and most of it was based off her appearance in
yeah,
that video. And I'm
yeah,
like, who the hell are you, old crones?
yeah. I'm just jealous. Yeah,
And it was like apparent, like you're projecting out your own insecurities about your own looks out onto somebody else. Like
yeah,
I know I'm not the hottest thing coming and going, but you know what? I don't have to tear you down. You're a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful. Why would I have to tear you down to make myself feel better?
right. Yeah,
I don't.
yeah,
I mean, what's wrong with people? I don't get that. You
yeah,
know. So.
Yeah,
but they're constantly, I think those are their thoughts and not our own.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like our brains, so one day we can get really into the universe as a hologram and then even our brains as a hologram. But our brains work kind of as a computer and they're constantly contrasting things. They're looking for, okay, is this a yes situation or a no? Do I agree with this? Do I not agree with this? Constantly looking for like this like constant contrast. And I think it can show up kind of in ways like that. Uh,
So
but
that thing I channeled without intending to after my meditation was right. The brain is basically an interface
oh yeah, yeah.
between our self, like our true essence and energy and the body and the physical world, or
Yeah,
the hologram that we're in,
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's really interesting too because uh we take 3D and our brain converts it to 2D. Um, we'll get into it. We'll get into it later, but yeah.
yeah, we'll have to. I'm gonna let, as a matter of fact, I won't even probably do much research on. I'm gonna let you teach me in that video about it.
Okay, okay. I'm still learning
So
how to take up space. So, you talk about how you have your, you know, insecurities. I do too. I feel like I'm still learning how to I don't know, just feel safe. For years and years, I would feel like bad if I said more than, man, I had such limitations on myself when I was cat
she's like,
unhealed. But
I'm in the video.
I know, yeah. Oh, my little princess cat. But yeah, yeah. I mean, we're both growing and healing just like any other person in the world. And uh, just know I think you're doing great, and I think that we're both bringing a lot to this podcast. And anyone listening, thank you. Um, yeah.
You know, we really do have some amazing people. Like we have a new comment on our first video. Did you see that?
No, no.
Yeah, somebody just now, I'm going to answer them, and I'm sorry I don't remember their handle. I briefly saw it right before we started recording, but um,
Oh,
we
was it
have
Soul
a,
Trap Star?
yes, Soul
Okay,
Trap
yeah.
Star. That's
Yeah.
it. Do you
Yeah.
know who that is?
Yeah, I they followed me on Instagram and then I followed them back and I've been messaging them and they would be really interesting to bring on the podcast one day.
Oh, we should totally do it then for sure. And then Manuel, I mean, geoengineering commented a lot on, two comments on, I think, two or three videos of ours. So, I mean,
We can bring them
uh,
all on.
I know, really. If any of you guys are interested, like Jackie, like we have Jackie on, let us know the topic you want to talk about, and and especially if it's something we need to study up on ourselves.
Yeah.
But we really like this being. I mean, of course, if it gets really big, then we would definitely have to have probably like a tier system or something. And those of you that have been early supporters would always probably have special place in our hearts. Everybody in the community I've noticed is really awesome. Like I've noticed it's an awesome. Uh, People seem like less selfish. I've noticed, and very not new agey positive. I don't mean in that way, but almost like I get the sense that most of the people are like, yeah, this place sucks. And this is great information. And thank you and gratitude for finding each other, I guess would be a better way to explain it. But it's been an amazing group of people. Jackie's been amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, after I think Tony suggested people come check it out, and everybody wrote. We had 500 views on that first video. It's almost up to 600 now.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing. You guys are amazing people. So thank you for sticking by us. We really appreciate it all.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so I have a couple more things I want to say. I have one more quote, and then I have like two short things I wanted to uh, share with y'all. So the last quote, okay, I understand why they put a love story in there. Eventually, they had like the trio, kind of going for the strangers. We saw that in The Matrix as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the quote was from the woman, and she goes, "I love you, John. You can't fake something like that." And I guess it was supposed to be like, oh, love at first sight. Love goes beyond their memories, but love itself is a frequency in a sense, and um, I felt like it was just I didn't like that part of the movie, but I guess most movies have some sort of love story in them. But
I don't think most people would like my view of what I'm coming to understand about love. And I don't think it has anything to do with anything the way that it's portrayed here, and especially in a romantic sense. I think love is when you just there's this empathetic care, like where you want the best for yourself and for others, and the reflection of recognizing that in each other.
mm,
That's love, and they can't feed off that, but they can feed off every other form of it here that's disguised as love. So I think everything else, including romantic love, is bullshit, and I think it's part of the system. And I
yeah,
think they feed off of it because it's not real, right? If it were real, how come people don't stay together forever? They don't. And even when people go, well, marriages used to last, were they happy marriages? A lot of women in the 50s were on barbiturates because they were miserable in their 1950s housewife lives.
yeah, yeah,
So and of course, anyone's welcome to disagree with me, but to me, that's what real love is. It's not even the word itself. It doesn't mean the word doesn't even mean anything. It's that relationship of because if you're energy and as we're energy, we resonate with each other, right? But there's no love involved in that. We're just we
yeah,
just resonate.
yeah,
And here it's that thing, that's how it's shown here in its true form to kind of express that resonation with each other is that right there. I don't want to succeed at your expense or vice versa. And I want the best for you as I do for myself. And not in a Jesus Christ kind of sacrifice way, just by virtue of this is who we are. And I have nothing, all we have is the resonation, this resonating energetic connection.
yeah,
And that's all that needs to be there. The rest of it is just crap from this place and lies about what love is in my view.
yeah,
And I could be completely talking out my ass. I don't know what people might be like, that just sounds crazy, but that's my take on
yeah. Yeah, I think love is respect, understanding,
it. Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that empathy, that caring nature.
And I think romantic love, I think it's extremely selfish because the reality is, what is it? I'm Nobody
Like
falls in love
yourself.
with somebody for the benefit of the other person. That's not how it works. I mean, they could say that, but the reality is the individual becomes attracted to the other person, that the individual who falls in love wants to be around the other person. It's inherently selfish. It is not like nobody goes, I fell in love with you because it would benefit you. No, that's not how, nobody ever says that,
Yeah,
and then it turns into the dynamic of all of the crap that comes along with being in a relationship at that point. And then they don't last. So it's because it's on a false premise to begin. And that's why it's in all the movies. That is so deeply embedded. It's been written about, it's been sung about, it's been talked about for thousands of years. And it's deeply, that is when people talk about love, it's either mother and child first, and that's the purest form of it, and then love relationships is where
hmm
it goes next.
hmm
So, but yeah, they sure do put it in everything, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah. All right. So I have a couple more things. And so at the very end, so let's see. I tried to find some Easter eggs from the director and from the film that weren't shared in the movie. And so I'm going to read what Proyas, the director, said on the ending. And he said, well, the first draft had a fairly bleak end to the film where the bad guys won at the end, but I just didn't like it. As I explored the story more and more, it was about the individual's triumph in this world where individuality is being suppressed. Once I got into that mode, There was no question that Murdoch had to win in the end and kind of wrestle the power away from the strangers. So I thought that was interesting how that wasn't actually supposed to be the end, how it was supposed to be the strangers winning. Um, but also I just had so many questions at the end. You know, he creates the light, he creates the ocean, but they're just gonna keep living there, thinking that they are who they are with these implanted memories and uh, how did they get there? And is this Earth now? And I can they go back to Earth? I had so many. What if he helped the strangers? I needed them. I just wanted like a Dark City 2 to answer some of those questions
Right.
I had.
Or would he manipulate people? Like, would he stay off doing what they were doing? Or would he manipulate people to do
Yeah,
like, would he become a
exactly.
little demiurge
Yeah, he's the
in his
only
own
person
right?
with the power to tune.
Yeah.
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 Does anyone else wake up? Oh, he's pretty much the god of this world now. What is he gonna do with it? Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that too. I was like, he could end up being worse than they were.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead, he creates an ocean, which is like a false memory. It's not even his real memory. Who were you before, John? Are you gonna try to find out who you were before? Uh,
Right.
so, yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I read some on one website, I read these taglines, which I thought were interesting and I wanted to share them. So there were four of them. And one is they built the city to see what makes us tick. Last night, one of us went off. And the second one was forget the sun, forget time, forget your memories. Another one was a world where the night never ends, where man has no past and humanity has no future. And the last one was you are not what you think you are. So I thought those were kind of interesting and yeah.
They're all things to get you thinking about. Like, it's all BS. Like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And I think somebody says that to him, don't they, in the movie?
They
Wake
do
up, John.
wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Streeter
I think it was Schreiber. Yeah. Yeah.
telling him to like get it together? Something, get it together, get it together.
Yeah.
Um, but it definitely highlights a lot of that, especially the whole floating on a big rock through space
Yeah.
in a prison. I mean, that you don't know that you're in. I'm like, hi,
Yeah. That you can't escape, you know?
yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. I
Yeah.
mean, it's crazy. It's and there's even again, I alluded to this earlier in the recording, but um, people who show the tree of life and how the earth sits on top of it,
Hmm.
and then on top of the earth is a dome, and then everything beyond the dome is supposed to be, the ascension process or whatever.
Hmm.
But even the planet looks like a flat rock over the top of that tree when it's drawn. No matter what culture, no matter when that was drawn, what time period, and no matter what culture before the cultures even had connections to each other.
Hmm.
So I used to say that people who like really people believe in flat Earth. I don't know. Because I mean, we're relying on a government agency to tell us here's the photos of the Earth from space. Are they? I don't know.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know I mean, maybe, but either way, it's still, whether it's a ball or a flat rock, whatever the hell, we don't need to argue about it.
Yeah.
um because as far as I know, most people haven't been up there to confirm one way or the other,
Hmm.
but either way, it's still some big piece of material that's floating through space, just like those people were in the movie
Hmm.
on a flat rock. And every time I see that ending, I'm just like, with the water's pouring over like nothing,
Yeah.
it freaks me out. I don't know why I'm so freaked out by that, but it does. It's just weird, maybe because I fall down all the time and the idea of nothing being, maybe I don't know what it
Thank
is.
you, man. Yeah. That could be it.
I'm like, there's nothing there. Or maybe that, maybe it's the whole nothing, the
nothingness.
whole nothingness. And because, and especially after the mushroom thing, that idea, that's one of the things that it was trying to break my mind with, was that there's nothing, that you're alone in the world and that everybody else here is your imagination and there's nothing.
Yeah,
So creepy stuff. But I highly recommend the movie.
yeah,
And I don't think it's dated, like it aged that badly. I think it does, I think it holds its own pretty well.
yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
So,
I read one theory, if you want to think differently about the movie, is that the whole movie could just be the doctor's dream. And it's you're looking into the mind of an estranged,
oh, that's interesting too.
psychiatrist. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I have a couple more things that I wanted to say. And oh, darn it, I just lost one of them. What was it? Oh, okay. The movie also kind of made me think just a little bit about astral travel. You know, you could compare it like John waking up. He's maybe waking up in his like sleep to like he can control himself in his dreams now. I thought that could have been,
Hmm.
I thought of that and I wanted to put that in my notes. But then another thing that I thought of, and I wanted to bring it up is the strangers with the hive mind and how they all have that hive mind. And in the new age community, one thing you see it in the past life regression and a big belief is we come to Earth. Earth is a school, right? We come here to learn our lessons, um, to experience things and get closer to God, so that when we're ready, when we've learned enough lessons and have spiritually awakened enough, we can return back to source. And I was thinking, I was like, man, if I thought to thinking, this is what hive mind is. Look at hive mind. They've lost all individuality. They are just all the same, like bland um, beings. And I think it's the whole returning back to source and being part of this whole just conglomerate like blob is such a red flag as well. And I thought of that when I was watching the movie.
You're onto something huge with that
Oh yeah.
because, well, think about this, because that's not the only place we see it. I'm a Republican. Every Republican
Oh yeah.
at the core has a hive mind.
Yeah.
Any group of people that get together form a hive mindset, and they
Yeah.
won't, to a certain degree, they're still individuals in terms of how they live their lives. Because I was watching, like, remember Star Trek, like you had that, the Borg, I'm seven of nine. And you're like, how would that even work? Like, how can you have a hive mind? Now I get it. There's a core principle that everybody's holding on to for dear life, and they won't let it go, but
Mhm.
they can still be individuals with different personalities, different perspectives on other things. But
Yeah.
the hive mind, so you made a big, that's a huge observation right there.
Ooh, that was a good one too. Yeah. So
So people don't get stay yourselves.
yeah.
Don't, you know, even if that's why we're always promoting agency, agency, agency. Always have your agency.
Mhm.
Because that was great, Devin. I didn't even think about that. That's an amazing observation.
My
And
brain is
it,
watching it, but yeah, yeah. Like why would we want to lose who we are and all this work that we've done just to go to become nothing? Like I don't know. I don't I don't agree with it.
so
But
I mean, yeah, that would beg the question: do they not like being themselves?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
So do you have anything else you want to say about the movie? I know I shared a lot of things right there, but I
No,
think
it was
some of
great.
my list of things.
No, I just highly recommend it to anybody. And if you haven't even seen it in a long time, too, go check it out again. Because it had been years, and there were certain things I forgot about. Um, and so that I don't think I have anything to add to that other than for people to go check it out.
Yeah. All right. All right. So that is our episode on Dark City. Do you have anything else?
Don't go out and pedal douche.
Yeah,
Be
no
your
push
be the
pedaling.
beautiful people. Be your true beautiful selves and don't peddle any crap out on people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and we will see y'all next time for our next episode.
Sounds good. See
All right,
everybody later. Bye.
bye.